Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle in a major story. Nigeria Army repels Boko Haram attack, kills 59 members of the dreaded sect in Bama, Borno State. Also in this program, Nigeria indicates interest to participate in the clinical trials of 2 vaccines in treating victims of Ebola virus in the country. Impeached Deputy Governor of Enugu State, Sunday Onyebuchi, redeployed to civil service. And outside Nigeria, British Prime Minister David Cameron announces tough measures to deal with homegrown terrorism. And now in the details. At least 59 members of the dreaded Boko Haram sect were killed on Monday as the Nigerian military repelled an attack by the sect to expand its caliphate to include Bama town in Borno State. It should be recalled that the sect had last week declared a caliphate in Goza, a town 135 kilometers from Maiduguri, and may be aiming to get further mileage towards Maiduguri. Bama is one of the largest towns in Borno, and a capture of the city would have further given vent to the determination of the sect to take over Maiduguri, the state capital. CoreTV News learned that more than 30 insurgents were also left injured with various bullet wounds as the majority of the terrorists were compelled to retreat through the bush. Some residents of Bama who spoke to journalists in Maiduguri after fleeing the town say they woke up early Monday morning to heavy bombardment as gunshots rent the air. A traditional title holder in Bama also told journalists in Maiduguri that the people of Bama are excited with the new efforts of the military in the area and relocation of the 21 Armored Brigade Battalion to Bama, insisting that if not for the efforts of the soldiers, Bama would have been consumed and may have caved into the Boko Haram caliphate. The Nigerian Army has revealed the curfew in Maiduguri, the capital of troubled Borno State. In a press statement by the Deputy Director, Army Public Relations, Sani Usman, the curfew hours on the town is now 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. The curfew formerly on the town was from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily, and the additional 2 hours was handed down due to the deteriorating security situation in the state, especially as a result of an increase in the number of attacks on some towns. Usman in the statement says no one was exempted from the curfew. President Goodluck Jonathan will travel to Nairobi on Tuesday to participate in a meeting of the African Union's Peace and Security Council scheduled to hold in the Kenyan capital. The Nairobi meeting, which is a follow-up to talks by President Jonathan and other African leaders in South Africa in May this year on joint action against terrorism, will receive and consider the report of the chairperson of the African Union Commission on Terrorism and Violent Extremism in Africa. A statement from the presidency indicates that deliberations at the Nairobi summit and the adoption of the African chairperson's report are expected to lead to more collaborative actions by Nigeria and other African countries to rid the continent of terrorism and the violent extremism. The Bring Back Our Girls movement is determined to keep the abduction of the Chibok schoolgirls in the public domain in spite of the outbreak of Ebola virus. The protest movement on Monday marked 140 days since the girls were abducted, by again moving its daily sit-outs from the Unity Fountain to other parts of the Federal Capital Territory. Members of the group converged on the popular Baja area of Abuja to sensitize residents of the cause.
Imagine it was your daughter I was taking away. What would you want Nigerians to see? Are you doing it? Are you doing what you would want Nigerians to do if it was your daughter I was taking away? And please don't tell me that the people parents thought it would not happen to them. We all thought it would not happen to us. Yes, they survive, but at today's victory. Injustice to one is injustice to all. Terrorist attack to one is terrorist attack to all.
No, we are not saying government is not doing anything about it, but it is taking too long. And this prolonged delay, there is tendency the girls may be indoctrinated. There is tendency some of them may be sick. So, in as much as they are doing something, let them give assurance for them to tell us, because the more we wait, the more our anxiety continues to increase. So that is why we are always advocating to keep as a reminder to them. Because with this Ebola something, like the issue has been swept under the carpet.
Nigeria has indicated interest to participate in the clinical trials of 2 vaccines in treating victims of Ebola virus in the country. It is also considering adding a 3rd to the list on the recommendation of a team of researchers who had been looking into experimental drugs for Ebola treatment. This was part of the update delivered at the National Council on Health meeting in Abuja.
It's the second emergency meeting of the council since the outbreak of Ebola in Nigeria. Like the first meeting in mid-August, it was presided over by Health Minister Onyebuchi Chukwu. But since the previous meeting, Nigeria has had more cases and consequently more people are under surveillance after the virus spread to Port Harcourt. So far, only 6 deaths has been recorded. 5 including the recent casualty in Port Harcourt. Also, 199 people who may have made contact with him are currently under surveillance. In view of this, the health minister says Nigeria is not shying away from using experimental EVD vaccines.
The treatment research group, which I had at the last meeting informed you about, and which will be making a presentation letter to us in the afternoon, has been working hard to identify experimental drugs and also make recommendations to government on further research on these drugs, as well as vaccines for EVD treatment and prevention. Following the TRG's recommendation and in consultation with NAFDAC and the National Health Research Ethics Committee, Nigeria has indicated interest to participate in the clinical trials for 2 candidate EVD vaccines and are considering a 3rd that may be added to the list. We have also applied for experimental drugs such as the TKM Ebola.
The government is also moving ahead to equip isolation wards at state levels as part of steps for a holistic approach to contain the disease.
Our technical teams have also concluded analysis of options for equipping our isolation wards as identified at our last meeting. At this present meeting, we shall receive updates on the status of the isolation wards in the states, after which the Federal Ministry of Health will conclude these arrangements and issue the contracts for the refurbishment and equipping of sites identified to serve as isolation wards.
The federal government had nice words for the Lagos and Enugu states and expressed hope that now that Rivers State has 3 confirmed Ebola cases, it will get similar collaboration from the state.
Meanwhile, the federal government has denied placing a ban on rallies in the aftermath of the outbreak of Ebola in the country. Health Minister Onyebuchi Chukwu was speaking against the backdrop of claims that the government has been breaking its own directives by ignoring a series of pro-Jonathan rallies in some parts of the country. He cited the recent Osun-Osogbo festival, which was held in spite of Ebola virus, to justify why Nigerians should not allow the disease to affect normal day-to-day activities.
We have not banned mass. You can also see that the Osun-Osogbo festival was holding. We are not stopping mass. Life must go on. When you have a government who is on top of the situation, you should go about your life. But you must do so, particularly now, with caution. So we work with them. So even for that rally, we worked with them to screen people. We did, if you were in Port Harcourt. So we are working with everybody, and then we told them provide hand sanitizers freely to all the participants. So we're not trying to create panic, but where you think you can do without, we are just advising Nigerians, where you think you can do without, you can postpone it, just like the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and Culture and Natural Heritage postponed the National Festival of Arts and Culture. So you have an option. You can decide to postpone, just like we've also postponed the date of resumption of primary and secondary schools.
Still on Ebola, the World Health Organization has voiced concern about the unprecedented number of healthcare workers hit by the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. More than 120 health workers have died and over 240 others infected so far. The disease has killed a total of 1,552 people and infected 3,062 as of August 26, according to WHO figures. In Guinea, where 430 people have died, nurses say they lacked basic medical equipment to treat patients and had even bought items such as gloves and protective clothing themselves. Health workers also protest in Liberia, which has been hardest hit by the outbreak with 694 deaths. The government has denied permission for any crew to disembark from ships docking at any of the country's 4 ports.
Our month of August salary, we need our proper equipment to use to work with, and we need insurance benefit. We need extra per diem to motivate us, because our life at risk. We are at the front page. Coming here today is not anything because we choose the profession, as I said. But equally so, if anything happens to us tomorrow, let us be at the stage that our family tomorrow is going to not cry alone.
Medical screening of passengers was also causing long delays at Monrovia's International Airport, but a 21-day quarantine thrown around the city's West Point neighborhood was lifted on Saturday. Air travel to West Africa has been badly hit by the disease. 8 of the 11 international airlines serving Monrovia have suspended flights, including British Airways and Air France. The WHO and the West African Regional Bloc ECOWAS have both called for travel bans to be lifted, saying medical screenings should identify at-risk passengers instead. The Lagos State government has given its full backing to the new resumption date recently announced for primary and secondary schools nationwide by the federal government as part of efforts to contain the spread of the deadly Ebola virus. The state government made this known when it received protective items from a telecommunications firm. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola, while receiving the donations, assures that the government is doing everything at its disposal to stop the Ebola virus from reaching epidemic level. Abiola Oluwole has more in this report presented from our studios.
Governments at all levels have been joining forces to contain the spread of the deadly Ebola virus since it was imported into the country by Liberian-American Patrick Sawyer in July. The recent reported cases in Rivers State have also continued to put government on their toes. Addressing the media during a donation of a personal protective items from telecommunication company, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says the October 13th resumption date for primary and secondary school by federal government are further action to check any epidemic that could arise from the spread of the Ebola virus.
Our official resumption date was 15th of September. We will abide this new date and hope that a more rigorous discussion and evaluation of the risks will be in place. Let us also not forget how this disease works, that it's not airborne. You need to be sick to be able to transmit it, and so on and so forth. So ultimately going forward, the realities are that from what I know, if you are sick sufficiently to be in a transmitting mode, you will not be able to go to school. So, but again, every sense of precaution at this moment must be taken in terms of sanitation, hygiene, and all of that, and reducing human contact as much as it is possible until we can say that the coast is clear.
He added that human capacity development that ensures sufficient numbers of virologists in Nigeria would go a long way in combating the spread of Ebola.
We are here to lend our support. First of all, to express our appreciation and to lend our support. We had already started supporting your cause by providing call centers where the Ebola hotline, where your doctors are there responding to any inquiries that might ensue.
The donor of the item says the action is in support of government efforts aimed at halting the spread of Ebola virus in Nigeria.
Impeached Enugu State's Deputy Governor Sunday Onyebuchi redeployed to the civil service. Find more on these and other stories after this time out. Don't go away.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
One continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united in similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
Welcome you to From the Ivory Tower and happenings around the country. Varsity teachers get to air their views. Students are actually not left out. We bring you intellectual ends from the events happening around you. This is dedicated to educating the populace with a spice of entertainment.
From the Ivory Tower, Tuesdays, only on CoreTV News.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Former Deputy Governor of Enugu State, Sunday Onyebuchi, has been redeployed to the Enugu State Civil Service. CoreTV News learnt that the deployment followed Onyebuchi's impeachment and the subsequent appointment of a new Deputy Governor. Onyebuchi was a staff of the Enugu State Civil Service before his appointment to political office. The former Deputy Governor's current rank in the service was also not disclosed. The Chief Press Secretary to Governor Sullivan Chime, Chikudi Achife, confirmed Onyebuchi's redeployment. Meanwhile, Enugu State Governor Sullivan Chime on Monday swears in Raphael Ifeanyichukwu Umoye as his new deputy, saying his administration has replaced a faulty part. The new deputy is taking over from Sunday Onyebuchi, recently impeached on allegations of gross misconduct by the Enugu State House of Assembly. In a brief remark after Nwoye had been administered with the oath of office by the Chief Judge of the state, Innocent Umezurike, at the Government House, Chime likened his administration to a vehicle which had just been repaired. He also noted that Onyebuchi's impeachment was for the good of the state. He expressed confidence in the new deputy governor's ability to discharge his responsibilities effectively in line with the demands of the office, noting that both of them served as commissioners in the administration of a former governor of the state, Chimaroke Inamani. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says visionless leadership, not lack of resources, is responsible for Nigeria's relative underdevelopment. Speaking in Owerri as chairman at the Governor's Progressive Governance Lecture Series organized by the All Progressives Congress, he says Nigeria has the resources but needed leadership, vision and determination to make things work. In his speech, which was sent to journalists in Abuja on Monday, he disclosed that the outbreak of the Ebola virus disease in Nigeria has brought to the fore Nigeria's emergency management response strategies. The resolve to continue to celebrate and immortalize Gani Fawayimi, who died on the 5th of September 2009, has prompted the Gani Fawayimi Memorial Organization to hold a word press conference to kickstart this year's 3-day program in respect of his demise. Anita Fatunji has more in this package.
The chairman of the organization, Ayodele Akele, says it is important and imperative to remember Gani Fawayimi for what he stands for and things he would have done on behalf of the masses.
It is imperative to remember Gani with those things that he would have done, the battles he would have fought on behalf of the masses, the several articles he would have written challenging the unjust decisions of government of the day and condemning the travails to which Nigerian masses today are being subjected to.
Ganiat Fawayimi says her late husband believed that good governance means being with the people, knowing their pains and solving their problems.
Conscious, more security conscious, and then tell the so-called leaders in quotes that they are not doing it right, who are not benefiting the poor masses of this country, throw them out. Where is Nigeria going to? These are the things my late husband was fighting for. That we should be safe in our country, and this is why people are going outside the country, not only for good life, but also for safety. So we should all address these points wherever we are.
The chairman of the organization demanded that the government put its thinking cap so as to rescue the Chibok girls.
We demand an urgent probe of where the endless, huge budgetary allocation to the military and police went to now forcing innocent rank-and-file police officers and soldiers absconding to Cameroon.
He also restated the need for the federal government of Nigeria to immortalize Gani Fawayimi.
Therefore, in our strive to immortalize this great colossus, we want to restate for the 18th time and on this auspicious 5th-year memorial of Chief Gani Fawayimi, the need for federal government of Nigeria to immortalize minimally this great human being without further delay by one, renaming the headquarters of National Human Rights Commission Abuja after Chief Gani Fawayimi as Gani Fawayimi Human Rights House. 2, establishment of Gani Fawayimi Freedom Square in Abuja as a freedom square where aggrieved Nigerians, NGOs, CSO, activities, etc. can gather peacefully without any molestation to protest and ventilate their grievances and angers over bad governance.
The organization says its objective is to monitor, develop, documentation and research data bank on promotion and sustenance of human rights in the country. They appeal to Nigerians to put in efforts to support the organization. Anita Fatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The official flag-off of the Economic Empowerment Program of the Lagos State Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation has kicked off. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has details of this report presented from our studio.
As part of efforts to reduce unemployment and poverty in Lagos, the state government has kicked off an empowerment program in 10 different locations in the state. Lagos State Governor, represented by the Deputy Governor Adejoke Orilokpe Adefulire, says the program is aimed at bringing out potentials in people.
Announced that we will commence training on the 4th of September for 10,000 beneficiaries who will benefit from this training program. It may also interest you to note that when the registration started on the 25th of August, precisely a week ago, we have realized that more people are willing to be trained. So we program 10,000, but as I'm speaking to you, we have more than 20,000 people that have registered. And on that note, the governor of Lagos State has asked that everybody that registers must be trained. If you live in Lagos, no matter where you come from, you are free to benefit from this program.
The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Establishment, Folashade Gaji, says the program will solve the challenge of unemployment in the society.
In line with our commitment to the state's overriding policy thrust of poverty alleviation and sustainable economic growth, as contained in the 10-point agenda, Lagos State Government, since the return to democratic dispensation, has created and will continue to create employment, empowerment, and job opportunities for the good people of Lagos State.
Two of the beneficiaries of the empowerment program, Jimo Ismail and Bumi Abiodun, expressed gratitude to the state government.
I want to thank Lagos State government, and I want to employ other states to copy this from Lagos State government so that each state can be a crime-free state and empower the youth.
And others will use this opportunity to also urge all the remaining states as well to copy what the Lagos states are really doing, and they're already giving us a great privilege, so we sincerely thank you all.
The Lagos State government says the empowerment program is free for all interested individuals, irrespective of the states they might come from in Nigeria.
The Assets Management Company of Nigeria accuses the federal government of wastage on Ajaokuta steel mills. Details of this and more on Business News with Sabena Izoku right after this break. Don't go away.
Nigerians continue to travel the city of Lagos.
There is still a poor level of
Be the first to know
CoreTV News
from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
We are one Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CoreTV News.
Welcome to CoreTV,
a 24-hour news station.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Hello there and welcome to the world of business with me, Sabena Izuku.
The chairman of the Asset Management Company of Nigeria, MCOM, Alhaji Kola Belgore, says the federal government is wasting 3.4 billion naira monthly on Ajaokuta steel mill. Speaking at an award ceremony in Ilorin in honor of Acting Inspector General Police, Suleiman Abba Belgore says the federal government is currently paying that amount for doing nothing monthly on Ajaokuta Steel Company. He lamented that despite the huge potential of Ajaokuta Steel Mill, it remains unproductive. Belgore says there are over 2,500 engines mounted and engineers monthly. The federal government says it's pushing for a review of the economic partnership agreement with the European Union by members of the African Union to adequately protect local manufacturers. The Minister of State for Finance, Ambassador Bashir Yuguda, stated this in his presentation as the guest lecturer at the 42nd Annual General Meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. According to Bashir, the government would adopt economic measures that could promote the growth of the Nigerian economy in line with the Vision 2020 objective. Under the agreement, the European Union will immediately offer the 15-member economic community of West African states and a non-member state Mauritanian full access to its market. In return, ECOWAS will gradually open up 75% of its market with 300 million consumers to Europe over a 20-year period. ECOWAS countries expected to participate in the agreement are Cape Verde, Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, Mali, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Benin, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, Niger, and Togo. The federal government has established the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline project steering committee in order to fast-track its gas revolution agenda. The project, which was approved under the National Gas Master Plan by the Federal Executive Council, is designed to transport gas for power and manufacturing industry usage to the key northern axis of Ajaokuta to Kaduna and Kano. Speaking at the inauguration of the committee, the Managing Director, NNPC, Joseph Daha, who is the committee chairman, described the project assignment as a national priority project, is one of the cardinal programs of the presentation of the present administration. He noted while progress is being made in the execution of adjourning OB3 gas pipeline project, as well as looping of the Escravos-Lagos pipeline system, implementation of the Abuja, Kano and Kaduna project has been slow and out of sync with government's desire for accelerated implementation. On agriculture, in a bid to save 3 trillion annually naira for the development of raw materials, the federal government has decided to mobilize its agencies to ensure effective exports of unprocessed cashew nuts and other agricultural produce. Chairman of the Governing Board Raw Materials Research and Development Council, Walid Jubrim, revealed this at the commissioning of Funab Cashew Processing Factory donated by the body, saying the federal government has started mobilizing Raw Materials Research Development Council, Central Bank of Nigeria, Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, Cashew Association of Nigeria, Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, among others, to ensure effective development of raw materials along value chains in order for Nigeria to save 3 trillion naira on improved agricultural production annually. He also says Nigeria, despite being ranked third among the top 10 world cashew nuts producers, could not process more than 10% cashew nuts locally, which necessitated the bulk export of unprocessed cashew nuts. The naira firmed against the US dollar on Monday, supported by dollar sales by Shell Petroleum Development Company. The local union closed at 162 naira 40 kobo to a dollar, firmer than 162 naira 55 kobo it closed on Friday. Naira on Monday sold, increasing dollar liquidity on the interbank. The naira has traded around 161 naira 70 kobo to 162 naira 55 kobo last week on the back of dollar flows from energy companies and some offshore investors buying local debts in the wake of inclusion of Nigeria's 2024 bond in the JP Morgan Index. And on the stock market report, equities transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The Nigerian Stock Exchange All Shares Index dipped by 0.32% to close at 41,398.05 basis points. Market capitalization also decreased and closes at 13.67 trillion naira. In all, a total of 222 million shares valued at 2.3 billion naira were exchanged in 4,455 deals. Report shows that 40 Oil topped the gainers chart, followed by Credit Up, UP Credit, Eternal Oil, Transcorp, Babco PLC. On the other hand, Guinness PLC led the losers chart, followed by Nigerian Breweries, Owando PLC, Zenith Bank, and Guarantee Trust Bank PLC. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. And that's it on business news. Coming up next is sport news with Brownsley Uwana. Please do stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, Toyol with a flying lead.
Go, taking them out in the lead immediately.
Very thanks for joining us on Sport News tonight. I am Brownson Uwana. The controversial Nigerian Football Federation President Chris Giwa says he will write in defense to FIFA that the August 26 election in Abuja were free and fair, and as such should be recognized as the duly elected president of the Nigerian Football Federation. FIFA has warned Nigeria they could be banned if by Monday midnight Giwa and his group did not vacate the NFF office in Abuja. There are strong indications that Sports Minister Tammy Dangogo may wave off the impending FIFA hammer that looms over Nigerian football if by midnight Giwa refused to leave the office. The World Soccer ruling body, through a letter signed by Jerome Valke, has warned that Giwa-led executive should vacate office by midnight on September 1 if Nigeria do not want to face FIFA hammer. Supporters of the Kaduna United has appealed to Kaduna State Governor Ramalan Yaro to settle the 11-month salary arrears owed players and officials of the club. Abdulhai Yusuf, the supporters club welfare officer, urged the state governor to rescue the clubs from its current relegation position in the Nigerian Professional Football League. Kaduna United head coach Saleh Barnabas said his boys' recent home winning form is as a result of personal motivation. Kaduna United are placed 18th on the log with 30 points from 25 matches and will travel to Owerri to face Heartland in their Week 26 fixtures. And now to some mountain race. The local organizing committee of the Obudu International Mountain Race and African Mountain Running Championship has announced Saturday, August 8, 2014 as this year's 2-in-1 race. The State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Patrick Ugbe, who is also the Vice Chairman of the LOC, revealed that this year's race will be unique. As part of the decision reached by the LOC, A total of 110 athletes shall feature in the world-class mountain race based on their performance around the globe. The LOC proposed to host one of the best competitions, which will feature oath-taking, march pass, short speech, local dance during the opening and closing ceremony. Finally, on the sport news tonight, to the world of Formula One, Honda has confirmed they will make their F1 return at next year's Jerez test, which is likely to be held at the start of February. The Japanese manufacturer, who will power McLaren in 2015 as the fourth engine provider to the grid, had been widely tipped to run the Abu Dhabi test that takes place the week after the season-ending Grand Prix in late November. However, despite their intention to take to the track just 2 months before the start of the next season, Honda insists their comeback is proceeding according to plan. And that's my final whistle on Sport News tonight. My name is Bronson Wana. Very big thanks for watching.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Thank you for being there. And now to other stories outside Nigeria. British Prime Minister David Cameron announced tougher measures on Monday against Britain's planning to fight in Iraq and Syria and battle-hardened jihadists who could return to launch attacks on home soil. Cameron says his government would draw up measures to ban suspects who are British nationals from returning to the UK, while police will get enhanced powers to temporarily strip departing suspects of passports at the border. He announced the measures in Parliament after Britain raised its terror threat risk level to severe, meaning an attack is thought highly likely due to fears over the situation in Iraq and Syria. We apologize for that loss in audio. And that's been the show tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebulomo Adekunle, wishing you a happy night rest.